somebody is not utilizing YouTube and would like to, or maybe they have a YouTube channel, but they haven't really done much with it. What's kind of first step? Do they need to give it a makeover? What do they need to do in order to be able to set it up for success?
Man, I think the first thing that is the lowest hanging fruit for everybody listening is taking vertical content if you're creating it elsewhere and starting to post it on YouTube. And even if you have not created any content, the very thing you should do this year is start leaning into vertical content. So what does that mean? Creating content that is 60 seconds or less on your phone, and you don't need any fancy gear. And I actually think we're living in one of the greatest opportunities to get started on YouTube and online video, because the barrier to entry has become a lot more practical. I mean, you asked me, what was I editing on back in 2003? Even when I first opened up my editing software and like imported all my footage and then thought about putting it on a timeline, everything I just described is multiple steps of a learning curve if you were going to edit your own content. And so the cool thing is that our mobile phones have made it easy to not only create this content, but that this content could get us a lot of awareness. Of course, in network marketing, Instagram is an incredibly powerful platform. You know, DM me and social selling and connecting with people and all of that is all incredibly powerful. And if you're already creating some of those assets, if you just think a little bit more expansively, why not take a vertical video and post it on multiple platforms? To circle back to what you mentioned when we thought about all the platforms, right now, I did a little clip of my talk from VidCon, and it was pretty simple. And I started an Instagram Reels, and I just opened up the Reels app. I put a little headline on it. I added captions, which it allows you to do there, just reads what you're saying, pretty much gets it accurate, and you can change it if you need to fix a word. And it maybe took 6 minutes to like create a video. And then I just clicked the little download arrow and downloaded it to my phone, and then finished posting it as a reel. Then I opened up TikTok and I posted on TikTok, and I opened up YouTube Shorts and I posted on YouTube Shorts. And for some reason it didn't post on Facebook Reels, so I went there manually. So those 4 platforms, and that might already sound a little bit daunting, but it's like, if you just kind of get moving, you'll get used to this. And again, it's one asset that I posted on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, TikTok, and YouTube. And you have the opportunity then of really quadruple dipping. It kind of reminds me, I went to the ferry, Mukilteo in Washington with my mom, took my mom on a date day. And we were up super early to catch the ferry. We got there a little bit early, got some coffee, and we were walking on the dock. And we saw a guy who was fishing, but he was just chilling in a beach chair, and he had like 10 fishing poles leaned up against the railing. So rather than bring one fishing pole down and just throw it out in the water and just have it sit there, he had, of course, 10 to see which one started to, so he could grab it, pull it in. And it's just going to give him a lot more chance of not just catching a fish, but hopefully multiple fish. And he's sitting back to let those poles do the work. That's kind of what we're doing with these vertical videos, is you've really got nothing to lose by starting to post some of this stuff over on YouTube. Now, there are best practices, but that's where I'd get started. I kind of went a while on that, but again, that's the lowest barrier to entry, when sometimes longer form content can be more intimidating. And it also is a good way to train yourself as a communicator, because it'll help you be more concise, more punchy. Creativity works best in constraints. So if you tell me I can just go on, what am I going to talk about for an hour-long live stream? Or I could get really, it kind of maybe forces the consolidation of your message. So I've actually found that short form content helps us improve as communicators overall, because we are trying to. You have to.
It's like a commercial in the Super Bowl. You're going to spend $5 million for 30 seconds. What are you going to say?
What are you going to say?
Yeah.
So that's where I would start, and then we could take it from there.
How network marketers could benefit from having a YouTube channel. Do they build it on their company, their product, their network marketing career? Do they build it on one of their interests, and then they use that as a lead generation in order to be able to eventually be able to prospect people? Do they build it on their passions? Do they pick a theme?
Yeah.
What's the best way to go?
So, since I'm sitting with the expert, I will defer to you to, of course, correct any strategy that may be off from my perspective. But from my perspective, I would never build on a product or a company, because that could change. What will never change is you and your personal brand. I think the best thing to build it on is a personal brand. I think about your YouTube channel. It's your first and last name, or also first and last name, and then GoPro. And I think about Tony Robbins. I think about Shalene Johnson, Jasmine Star, whoever. First and last name, your passions are going to change and evolve. Our life was radically shifted now that I've got a 2.5. We have 2 boys. I got a 2.5-year-old, a 9-month-old. So perhaps you get more into parenting, and there's all kinds of other new problems you have that could be solved, new challenges with sleep. And
well, with this, is it a hodgepodge of just here's who I am, or are you trying to find your tribe by identifying your passion, and then bringing value to that tribe.
Sure. Yeah. So the fact that you're going to build it on your personal brand does not mean that it should be a hodgepodge,
Okay.
especially on YouTube. You do want to be known for something. And so if we then started optimizing the page and we have Eric Worre, Sean Cannell, in my case, helping you build your influence with video. So I think if you could think about what is it, and now if we go back to, okay, what's the push of the channel? I like the interest-based channel. And there's two ways to what we would call niche down or niche down, right? The riches are in the niches. How do we niche down? So one is on the narrow topic. So you might be kind of like essential oils is maybe big enough to make a channel on, but perhaps you go kind of alternative living. You kind of go alternative living, health. And that's great because somebody they're interested in essential oils or maybe some other skincare stuff or some creams or some other biohacking. So you think about that it's kind of topical. But the other way to niche down is actually person-based. It's like I'm helping mothers in a particular, millennial mothers would be an opportunity. But if you also think person-based, I sometimes think about the entrepreneur persona as I am one. And ever since like the 4-hour work week, when you think about somebody maybe rallying around Tim Ferriss in the 4-hour work week, you can make a lot of assumptions about them. You could be like, maybe they also follow Dave Asprey and they're into biohacking and they drink bulletproof coffee for a while. And maybe they also are into some level of fitness and they're probably into investing as well. There's many successful channels like this that are helping men build like wealth, success, and happiness. That could be a hodgepodge in a way, but the phrase to summarize it all is you kind of never want to upload a video subscribers didn't subscribe for. If you are like, you want to feel your best, look your best, and have your bank account packed out, then I hit subscribe for that stuff. Now, maybe I don't want to follow your workouts right now, or maybe I don't want to follow your health stuff right now, but you want to narrow it. So your opportunity to narrow it down is, and oftentimes the first is better. Like if the channel is about like home workouts for you, great. Then I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm never going to be surprised. I get 20 or 30 or 40-minute workouts I can follow along with on YouTube. It's a brilliant yoga with Adrienne is a huge yoga channel. She's not really diverting from that. It's very clear, good personal brand and promise. However, you can also go the person route. And if you know the type of person you're helping, then never upload a video they didn't subscribe for.
They're kind of an avatar for a group.
They're an avatar. And we would say that the YouTube creator who understands the audience best wins. For a lot of female network marketers that many might be familiar with, like, I get her. She just gets me. Who is her? And when you understand her, you don't lose, like you don't have to be too afraid of, I just talked to a YouTube employee, Renee Ritchie, and I was asking him frequent questions and myths that come my way. And one was, if I have a bad video, does it ruin my channel? If I upload a video that just tanks, am I hurting my channel? Am I hurting the algorithm? And explicitly his answer is, no, you're not hurting your channel at all. If it dies and YouTube actually ranks them 1 out of 10 compared to your last 10, you're always being measured by yourself. If it's 10 out of 10, which means the worst, it just kind of means it throttles down and there's probably not much you could do. Click-through rate wasn't very good. Audience retention wasn't very good.
So 10 out of 10 is the worst?
It's the worst. It means it was, yeah. And 1 out of 10, it means it's your number 1 out of the last 10 you posted inside of your analytics. And so he's like, yeah, it kind of just dies into the algorithm. And not as many people see it as you even think. Only a few saw it. They didn't really engage with it. So it kind of, fades away. That could be, its own emotional challenge. You're like, I thought this video would do great. But nevertheless, I mean, no matter who you are, even some of the biggest YouTubers, if they're pulling major views, they might have one that gets 1 million views and one that gets 66,000. That's kind of the nature. So overthinking any one post at some level, if you don't allow yourself to experiment with inside of your avatar or inside of your topic, you should be afraid of experimenting, but it absolutely would be a mistake to just be entirely random, to have no vision.
Yeah.
The idea here, you think about an influencer or being a leader. Well, how can anybody follow you if you don't know where you're going? So I think there's something about casting a vision for the people you would want to subscribe to your YouTube channel. Like, this is where we're going. And bigger than network marketing, like where we're going is we want to have a strong family. We want to have peak energy. We want to have an incredible love life, strong relationship, and subscribe for that. While you certainly could just make videos, say, about your product, I think you should be making videos about something bigger. And at times talking about the product, at times talking about the opportunity, but weaving it into a promise that not only transcends the product and the company, but also is somewhat transcendent in the sense of what's the longevity of this? Right? Yeah. Like, how could this be something that kind of grows with me in terms of the next couple years to ultimately decades?